What is going on, you guys? This is Blaze over here at the Blue Chip Athletic Club podcast. Today is June the 2nd, 2025. Hopefully this episode is coming to you guys as you're coming into your summer season, summer break. We're going to do something a little bit different today and talk a little bit about some frequently asked questions, the top 10 that I could bring up from people that have asked us other things, as well as some internet research that we're going to come to you guys with. Before we get going, though, I wanted to shout out our partners over at First Form. If you guys need any sort of supplements, sweet workout gear, you name it, they've got it. Let us know, and we can send you guys over some more info on some of the stuff that we use. You know, whether that's chocolate greens in your coffee, whether you use collagen, French vanilla collagen powder, whether you want some juice protein, they've got kind of all the goods. We're going to go through some rapid fire, frequently asked questions, like I said just a second ago. So bear with me here. I'm going to pull this list up, and then we're going to get this thing rolling. But I do want to make sure that I hit on the fact that it is super important to kind of understand that I am by no means going to claim that I'm some sort of expert in all these things that we're being asked. This is 100% my opinion. So as one of my mentors and coaches myself has said, take what you want and read the rest, and leave the rest, just so that you're able to kind of take all the things that I'm telling to you from somebody who's living it as a 30-year-old with no kids and just a dog, and other things to kind of talk through. So here we go. We'll go frequently asked questions here. Number one question is going to be, where do I even start? So if you're somebody who's new to health and wellness, you're somebody who's new to training, who's new to trying to make a health change, a lot of times these things are vanity driven. Let's be honest, everybody wants to look better naked. I think that's a universal truth of all people, from all walks of life. But whatever brought you into the space of wanting to make a change, one thing I'll say is you should really lean into that thing that makes you want to make the shift. It's really helpful if it comes from a place of we'll call self-love. If you're coming from the place of like, hey, I want to make this change because I want to, be able to play with kids when I'm older. If I want to, go out and I miss hiking and now I can't hike anymore because I've become too immobile. Those types of reasons are going to be much more effective in the long term to help kind of push you towards that goal. But if you're somebody who's like, hey, I just want to look better naked and move a little bit better, then those are also things that you can really lean into. But there is such thing as, hitting it too hard, too fast, biting off a little bit more than you can chew. I've been definitely guilty of that myself. So really what you want to make sure that you're doing is you're picking one thing to focus on until you got that thing mastered. If you've ever read the book Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg, he talks a lot about like, hey, you want to, like, it's not even habit stacking. It's like focusing on something that's super simple. It's so easy that you're like, 90 to 100% sure that you can do it on a day-to-day basis. And then once you kind of have that thing down, then you can add to it. You can start bringing other habits into the fold. So an example would be like, hey, I want to start a workout journey. I want to get to the gym. Well, your first goal might not be to go in the gym workout for 2 hours. It might be if that's where you're at. But for most people, if you haven't been in the gym a lot before, you're probably going to be like, hey, I want to just, maybe work out for an hour, or maybe you need to roll that back even more and be like, hey, I want to work out for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Or you could be like, hey, I just want to get a gym membership. And that's like biggest, bit of inertia so that you can get that done. Or maybe it's like, hey, I just want to put on my running and or walking shoes in the morning, and then hope that starts to spark something. So if you need to walk those things back, it's really, really helpful, again, to have a coach. I always preach that. As a coach myself, I've got like 12 coaches for different things: flying planes, training, business, nutrition, all these things I've got coaches for as well. And they help keep you accountable. It helps kind of guide you in the right direction, and it helps to break down your own brain to help make things a little bit easier, because typically you know the right answer, even if it's not there just slapping you in the face, and you can have somebody else kind of talk to you about it. And so really, where do you even start? Being consistent with something super small, and then really starting to kind of get really good at that, be brilliant at the basics, and then you can kind of move on. Oh, I think we beat that dead horse. Let's go frequently asked question number 2. How many days a week should I train? Oh, geez. So there's going to be a ton of data that exists in the world on a number of days and effective load for training. But I'll say, like, unless you're an Olympic athlete, unless you're somebody who's a high level sports person, this is your job. This is the thing that you're born to do, bred to do, or maybe like, hey, you're not training for a bodybuilding show, or you're not going to do a magazine shoot. You probably don't need more than 3 or 4 sessions a week when it comes to your training, about 30 minutes a clip. And realistically, it's like, you don't need to be in there for forever. I used to be the guy, full disclosure, that was like, hey, I need to go in and train for 2 hours in the gym, 7 days a week. Was all that time focused? No. Was all of that time best used? No. Was it even program time? No. I don't think that it was really, really well done. So again, if you have a training program, you have a training protocol, and you're going in there with a plan, really effective plan, what you can do in 30 to 40 minutes, 3 or 4 times a week, can be really effective and help you kind of get towards your goals. So you don't need to burn out. You don't need to build in too many days too fast. And remember, this could also be like going outside and going for a hike. That can count. Going for a walk with your spouse, that can count. You could go run with your dog. That could count. Like, there's a lot of ways to kind of skin that cat. Just making sure that you're meeting yourself again where you're at, not looking to overdo it, and stacking up those tiny habits. Question 3, do I need to do cardio or weight training? This is a great question. So the way that we coach here at Blue Chip is a little bit different. And I'll say, I think that there's benefits to both things: cardiovascular strength, muscular strength as well. Cardio strength, one, your ticker, it's got to be strong, healthy, helps fight against, cardiovascular disease, just general heart health. You want to be able to not burn out when you're going up the steps. Those types of things as you get older definitely are important. But strength training really does help a lot of other things too. It helps prevent osteoporosis, good body composition, joint health, overall metabolism, because your muscles and body are going to be able to burn more calories as you age if you retain more lean muscle mass. So I think that the real answer is a blend of both. And really what you should think about is like, hey, what do you enjoy doing? Like, what do I like to do as a health person? If I'm somebody who's like, dude, I love running so much, why would you ever stop running? Like, why, unless you have an injury or something like that makes you sidelined for a bit, like why not do the things that you enjoy, lean into those things, and then be able to work around those things? And I'm not saying like, don't push yourself into unnatural or uncomfortable spaces, because I think that's really beneficial as well. It's good to do hard things. It's good to remind yourself you can do hard things, but training should be fun. Like, it's not this thing of like, you need to go in the gym for, again, 2 hours and just kill yourself in there. That's for the birds, man. Like, it doesn't last. It really leads to burnout. It leads to you not loving what you do. And then makes it so that this like all gas or kind of all on the back burner. And then you end up, looking at yourself in the mirror as a 40, 50-year-old person. And you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. And you're kind of feeling like you're starting from day one. So again, all that to say, if you can blend cardiovascular training and weight training together, do some focus sessions, and it really helps, again, to have somebody who's coaching, helping you make a program that's going to be effective in getting you towards your goals, is going to be also important. Now, in regards to that too, like, hey, if I decide that I'm going to sign up for a marathon tomorrow, maybe weight training 5 days a week or 3 or 4 days a week, if that was what my plan was, up until the race, is not smart, right? Like, you have to remember, like, what is your goal? Why is that goal important? And then how do you get yourself there? And it really helps to have that kind of goal in mind, and then work yourself backwards from that goal. So let's go. Question number 4. What should I eat? Oh man. Nutrition. Nutrition is so individualized. And I know that probably sounds like a cop-out answer, but if you're thinking about your nutrition as a whole, I think that really it can be boiled down to shopping on the outside of the grocery store. If you're able to shop on the outside of the grocery store most of the time, you're going to be okay. If the food that you're eating swims, grows from the earth, flies, moves, whatever, you're probably going to be okay. And of course, if you can afford to have organic foods over non-organic foods, you're probably going to be a little bit better off. But for the most part, like, if you're around the outside of the grocery store, it doesn't come in a box or a bag, you're going to be okay. If you can get a quality lean protein in every meal, you're going to be okay. If you get a lot of vegetables, you get quality fruits, you're able to get the healthy fats in, you're really going to be okay. And for the most part, the reason that we'll call typical American diet is not okay is because we lean more into the stuff that's convenient, located in a box, and a lot of people are struggling in what they prepare and how you cook. So if you need help in that, hit us up. We've got a free recipe book that we'd love to send out over to you as well. So what should you eat outside the grocery stores? Let's make it simple, lean protein sources, and let's make this thing happen over time. Now, what you should eat and how you should eat, a little bit different. Meeting yourself where you're at is important. You can't go from drinking 10 beers a night, 7 days a week, to then being like, I'm going to cold turkey, not have any beers. Most likely, that's not going to be sustainable. So again, meeting yourself where you're at. I'm going to go back to that initial thing that I kind of hit on is those tiny habits, those small little shifts over time. Being 5 to 10% uncomfortable is super good, so that you can kind of make that progress over time. But we'll move on there. Question number 5 is going to be, do I need supplements? Oh boy. I love this question because I just shouted out First Form at the beginning of this podcast too. And they're probably going to get mad at me. The answer is, I don't think that anybody needs supplements. Supplementation is really, really great to build off of a foundation of fundamental health. So we talked before about shopping on the outside of the grocery store. If you shop on the outside of the grocery store, you have a good understanding of calories in, calories out, and macronutrients, and you can adjust those things to meet you where you want to be. You probably don't need to ever take a supplement a day in your life. If you're able to get all your micronutrients, you're able to get all your vitamins and minerals, all those things, you're probably solid. But I think that there's a lot of times where people struggle to get those things. I think that can be kind of beneficial if you have something that's quick acting. Maybe that's a high quality protein powder. Maybe that's a multivitamin. Maybe that's green supplement. Maybe that is fish oils, all those types of things. But what I want to say is, like, if you're focusing on supplementation and you don't train regularly, you don't or at least move regularly, and you're not eating foundational foods, lean protein sources, shopping on the outside of the grocery store, the supplements are not going to help you. So starting off with those fundamental pieces of nutrition and training, and then adding in the supplementation, we'll call that for the last 5 to 10%, that can really make a difference. Then you'll be able to make that happen. But otherwise, don't waste your money. Supplement industry is, multi-billion-dollar industry. It can be super helpful. They're going to show you people with six-pack abs and super shredded and all these other things, but those people did not get that way by taking that one supplement over the course of X amount of time. They got that way through a lot of training, a lot of dedicated time of eating the right things, and then this is now just the icing on the cake to help them kind of continue to perform and look their best. And also, sometimes it can be a convenience thing. Like me personally, again, I take the First Form green supplement, which is chocolate flavored, and I put it into my coffee, and I'm like, dude, this is great. No knocks against AG1, but I used to take it and it felt like the bottom of a lawnmower. I think I've told a couple of you guys that before. I think that their product is great, but I moved over to this one because I thought it tasted a little bit better, and it's super convenient because it gives me my vegetable, my servings of fruits and veggies all in one, a ton of my micronutrients. And even if the rest of my day I don't have a ton of vegetables, I'm still able to get the things that I kind of need on a day-to-day basis, which helps my body feel the best and continue to function the way that I want it to. So just my 2 cents there on supplementation. Again, take what you want, leave the rest, people, if it's not something that you're into. Okay, how do you stay motivated? Ooh, this is such a great question. So motivation is something that I think is never going to be a straight line. You're not always going to feel motivated. It's totally normal. Setting goals, creating structure, developing your why, I think is really key. A lot of that progress comes, to get towards that goal, doing work when you don't want to. I listened to a couple of podcasts of Olympic coaches in recent history. And one of the Olympic coaches basically cited the fact that he's like, hey, I tell my athletes, like, if you're living by the rule of thirds, you're going to be doing well. The rule of thirds is a third of the time when you're working towards a goal that you set, you've set the right goal, because a third of the time you love it. You're like super into it. You're hella motivated. You're like, let me get after it. Let's say the goal is running, and your goal is to run 3 miles, and let's say 3 miles, and you're going to do that 3 times a week. The first day that you do it on Monday, you're waking up and you're like, I feel so good. I'm ready to go. You go out, you crush your run. Wednesday rolls around and you're like, oh my gosh, I got like no sleep. My kids, my dog, my whatever partner kept me up all night snoring. Now I can't really get out of bed. I don't really feel the best. I feel okay. Maybe you're at like, we'll call it like 60%. You go out and you run anyway, and that's your second third. The last third is the days where you really don't want to go. You wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, there's like no way I want to train today. My motivation level is super low. Maybe something happened. And those are the days where getting up and doing it anyway is going to create a ton of momentum. Those are the days where even if you went out and you walked the 3 miles instead of ran the 3 miles, you jogged super slow. You somehow are able to check that box. That builds in a little bit of that resiliency, builds in a little bit of that grit, and then helps you continue to progress towards your goals. So remember, rule of thirds, I really like it. It just helps you kind of guide yourself to know like, hey, are you reaching enough in that goal? Because it should be a little bit uncomfortable. But is it not something that is like so audacious that you're like, there's no way I'm going to get there? Like, sorry, like I'm never going to play in the NFL. Like I totally understand. I'm 30 years old as of today, and I'm not getting drafted to go play quarterback in the NFL. But I do know that, hey, I can go and compete at X event or Y event, or I could go do this goal or whatever the thing kind of becomes the next docket up, and know kind of to me myself where I'm at, push myself to a degree, and then know kind of what is also realistic and attainable for me. That's going to help move the needle, if you will. So that is kind of my 2 cents on motivation. Oh, how long until I see results? Oh, okay. So this is going to really, really depend person to person. And results really depend on what your goal becomes too. Let's say you're somebody who is looking for goal weight or goal aesthetic, goal whatever. I can say that that's probably not going to come as fast as you want it to, kind of like everybody, myself included. I would say like I've got a photo that lives on our Instagram page that shows like a before and after of me when I was my heaviest, about 230 pounds. I believe it was in the year 2018. And then another photo of me in 2023. So it's about a 5-year difference. And I look like a completely different person in those 5 years. And that took a long time, and it took small little shifts over the course of that time, dietary shifts, movement shifts, lifestyle shifts, all those things to be that different person. In general though, if you're looking at whether it's the scale, whether it's the way that your clothes fit, whether it is the way that you look in the mirror, those changes of looking and feeling can start as early as 2 to 3 weeks. And then even more so, like, hey, we're starting to get into that 2 to 3 months timeline, and you really, really start to lean into it. I'll say, just like any tool, the scale can be a great tool. It can be really, really helpful to track metrics, but remember that it really is just measuring mass on the ground. If I stand on the scale today and I'm 200 pounds, which is probably about what it would say, and I look at the scale and then I Google body mass index, it's going to tell me that I'm obese. I do not think that I am obese. I feel like I'm pretty muscle heavy as my body sits today. But if I'm looking at that and then I'm looking at the data online that's projected out there, that's going to tell me that I'm not as healthy as I feel. So what I want to make sure that I emphasize is like, hey, that the scale is a starting point. You can find trend data. You can see kind of how things are going, but relying on that scale and not thinking about, your confidence, your energy levels, your overall strength levels, what your goal is. Like, hey, if you're not going on stage in front of hundreds of people at a bodybuilding show, like, does it really matter? Are you just looking to make that small bit of progress? And part of that comes with like falling in love with the game. And I say that because, as somebody who's an achiever myself, I think that I can get caught up in like the next thing, the next goal. A good example of this, I just I just signed the loan paperwork for my second home. We bought my second house and then Florida literally 3 days ago. I signed the paperwork for that. For me to be able to save up the money to be able to buy that house when I'm moving here out of California took all of like 4 years for me to do. And to feel comfortable about doing it, to be able to house hunt and know that I'd be able to like figure out a way to make that happen. It took 4 years. It took 4 years of pushing back, we'll call like delaying gratification, 4 years of constant saving, 4 years of saying no to vacations, of doing all these things. And at the end of that 4 years, I signed that paperwork. I got the half a second congratulations from a lot of my friends and family, which again, I appreciate all of you guys for saying those things. But realistically, like the 2 minutes later, you're like right back to where you were. And it's like, what's next now? Like, and that I think is part of the human condition is like, what then? And ask yourself that question in your health and wellness too. Like, what then? Like another good example for me is I had this huge goal of hitting 315 on the bench, squatting 405, and deadlifting 500 pounds. And when I was my heaviest, I did those things. I finally hit 315, finally did all these things. And then it's like, then what, dude? And then you know what I did? I looked in the mirror and I was like, I'm 230 pounds. I'm 1 pound away from being too heavy to fly in this Navy training jet. And oh, by the way, like I don't look the way I want. I don't move the way I want. I can't play lacrosse without getting super tired. I'm exhausted going upstairs. I'm super strong, but I can't touch my back. My lower back hurts. Like all these kinds of things are compounding. So really, really think about like, what is your why? Why are you training? Why are you doing these things? And that can really help to hone in on the fact that this is a game that you can fall in love with. And the goal is like, hey, don't fall in love with, the final score. Fall in love with the process and the journey and find a way to figure out what that thing is that gives you energy and allows you to continue on the journey itself. Progress matters. I'm not going to say that it doesn't. Everybody wants to look better naked. Everyone wants to be stronger, leaner, faster, better at their sport, whatever that thing becomes. But make sure that you're falling in love with the process, or else, you're eventually just going to be like, yep, this isn't for me. And then you'll wake up at your 80th birthday party and you'll be the one in a wheelchair while everybody else is dancing out there wondering like what you did wrong. So think about that. We might have gotten a little bit deeper than I wanted to there on question number 7, but we'll move on here to number 8. The question is, what if I fall off track? Oh, this is a great question. So being a nutrition coach, I think I hear this a lot from clients. And I think that the best way to think about this is an analogy. And I love the analogy. And it's, let's say you're on a cross country trip and you're trying to drive from LA to New York. You're driving from LA to New York, you're going through Denver and you hit a pothole. And one of your tires is punctured, right? One of those tires is punctured, and then you walk outside, you look at the tire and you're like, you know what? And then you walk around to all 3 of the other tires and you slash every single one of them. You're like, yep, I can't go anywhere. Now I got one tire that's out and I'm just going to slash the rest. That is what a lot of people do in their nutrition. That's a lot of people do in their health. You take a day where you're like, hey, I had a quote unquote cheat meal. Tonight's a great example. I'm going to have pizza tonight. You know what I don't do a lot? I don't have pizza a lot. But you know what else? I'm not just going to have pizza tonight, roll that into 10 beers tonight, roll that into 10 quart pints of ice cream, and then roll that into tomorrow's breakfast and buy a box of donuts and then keep it rolling, right? What I'm going to do is when I have that, fall off track, or I have that moment where I have that thing occur, I'm going to fix the tire. I'm going to put the spare tire on the car and I'm going to keep driving from LA to New York. I'm going to continue on the journey. And that happens to everybody, right? The problem is we let that become the focal point. We let that thing, that failure be the thing that epitomizes your health journey. And that's not it at all. It's not that you can't eat Oreos or donuts. And I tell you what, dude, I say donuts a lot. I am an absolute donut whore. And that's probably not PC for whatever platform you're listening to this on. But I love them so much. It's like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen Finding Nemo, where like Bruce the shark like walks in, and then he like sees the blood and he smells it, and then his pupils get super big. And then he's like, "Oh, that's good." Like that's me when I smell donuts, and like if I eat one, I eat 12. There's like nothing I can do. Know thyself. It's important too. But what I want to make sure of is like, hey, if I eat that one, how do I prevent myself from having the 12? Or you know what, if I do have the 12, what do I do later on in the day so that I set myself back on track? One bad meal, one missed workout, one bad day doesn't erase all the progress that you've had. So don't feel like you need to wait for Monday. Don't feel like you went out Friday, you had too many beers, and Saturday you're like, you know what, I'm just going to continue and go order Taco Bell and and just bury my health for the rest of the weekend. You can always replace the tire, and then move on. So I think I beat that dead horse as well. Question 9. We're almost done. Don't worry. And I've got some guys coming over here to train here shortly. So question 9, can I still enjoy my favorite foods? 100%. I still eat donuts. I still have pizza. I still have ice cream. I still have, peanut butter. Whatever your we'll call guilty pleasure is, you need to find a way to incorporate that into your day, into your weeks. And the goal again is to not do it all over Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like, hey, how do I incorporate this? How do I pepper these things in so that I'm able to take these foods, incorporate them in a good way? And you know what else? If you have a favorite food, maybe you do love Oreos and you're like, man, I wonder if there's like a healthier version of Oreos. I got a solution for you, and it's the Yuka app. Go download YUKA. They have no endorsement with our podcast or affiliation with us, but they rule. And that's like a barcode scanning app that essentially will, like, you'll walk into whatever store. Let's say you shop at Sprouts. Walk into Sprouts and you scan a barcode, and it's like, hey, this is a box of Oreos. I know there's no Oreos at Sprouts, so please don't get mad at me, Sprouts. Let's you scan your box of Oreos, and then on Yuka, you scroll down, and it's like, hey, this is the score out of 100. It's going to give you a metric score out of 100 and say how healthy this food is. It'll tell you why. Maybe it's got additives. Maybe it's high in fats, and calorically, it's not super good for macronutrient ratio, whatever they say. If you scroll down a little bit, it'll tell you some substitutes that you could make that are slightly better choices or really, really good choices. A good example being like chips, like Lay's chips don't grade super well. But then if you flip down and you scan one of those barcodes, you might be able to find a Siete chip that is way better for you, way cleaner, made in avocado oil or whatever process. And then you're able to still eat something that tastes good, but also helps move you closer to your goal by making a small substitution. So yes, enjoy your favorite foods, find ways that you can incorporate them into your day, and do not ever give those things up, because life is too short to not eat the donut. And I will stand by that. All or nothing really kills your consistency. Find a way to fit it into your plan. It's not a punishment. It's just living life, and that's really, really important. Whew, okay, question number 10. I got like 2 minutes here to finish up. How do I get my family on board? Wow. This is a tough one. So I really think that if you're somebody who's in a household of people that are not super supportive, or maybe they're just on a different path, it can be really challenging. You will be up against a lot of scrutiny, or maybe they'll kind of make fun of you or whatever it is. My family definitely would have. But I think a big thing is like, hey, can you lead by example? Can you be the person that takes charge on cooking, and you're like, decide that you're going to make this thing and find a way to make it taste good for everybody who's involved. Maybe you go on a walk. Maybe if you're a parent, maybe you start training with a kid that you think is kind of could benefit from that. Maybe they're a youth athlete. Maybe maybe you have a spouse or a partner or somebody else that wants to do that. So, this actually, getting your family on board, ironically enough, we're pretty close. We're going to be launching a new program here in the next month or so, called Stronger Together. Pretty exciting stuff where it's going to be for parents that are trying to get back on board with their health and wellness journey, with a kid who is a youth athlete somewhere we're hoping age like 10 to 17, a youth athlete that's really trying to improve in their sport. Program is not made for any Joe Schmo kid athlete to kind of take part in, because it's definitely challenging. It's not something that's going to be super easy for them, but it's going to be like a way that parents can train with kids, get a little bit of education behind, eating foods, some tools that they can use and have to really, really dial that stuff in, start looking, moving, and feeling your best, and then other ways to kind of bond together as a family around some physical activity and around some other things. So that is what I would suggest when it comes to getting your family on board, like really trying to find ways to lead by example, finding substitution foods. And if you guys have questions or you need help getting these things done, we've got, again, cookbook stuff. We've got other resources. We've got ways that you can like build out a simple workout. I mean, we've got, geez Louise, our YouTube channel has like 900 videos of training movement patterns that are explained to you, workouts that are developed, all these kinds of things. So there's a ton of resources out there. And if I'm you guys and you're like, hey, I just want a really, really simple thing, go on to like ChatGPT and create yourself a workout program. Like there's really, really easy ways to do it. I think that there's never a time where the internet can hold you accountable. I think that having a coach and somebody there to talk through those things is always going to be important and helpful. Maybe that's just because I've got 1,000 coaches and I can't stop doing it. But that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. So that is our 10 frequently asked questions for today, and about all the time I have for you guys. So just before I get out of here, just remember, you don't stop playing because you get old. You don't, God damn, I've done this like 2 times now. You don't get old because you stop playing. You don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. My brain is mushy. And it is definitely time for me to get out and yell at some kids and get them to training. So hope you guys enjoy the rest of your, whatever day today is, Monday or whatever day of the week that you guys listen to this. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.